Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Janine's Creative Cooking. I am coming to you this morning and I'm going to tackle biscuit making with you. Um, Biscuit making is something I've been working on for many years. I have been working with different types of flour, just trying over and over again, looking at different recipes, getting different ideas, working on trying to figure out my own combination. And I feel like I'm finally coming to the place where my biscuits are just the way that I like them. I remember that my mother, she was renowned among our family for her biscuit making. And to this day, my sister and I constantly talk about why did we not pay more attention when mama was making those biscuits. And we hate that we did not get her biscuit recipe. My mother never wrote things down and she didn't measure, but she would, if you wanted to know how to make something, she would talk through with you how she made it, and she would guesstimate on her measurements. So anyway, all that to say that um, even though I did not get her biscuit recipe from her, I feel like I have finally um, got to the point where I understand how to make my biscuits just what they need to be. So that is what I'm sharing with you today. And um, it's something that I want to encourage you to keep trying with. If you feel like it's not exactly the way that you want after you make them, keep working with it. You'll get it. And I'm going to do my best to try to talk you through it. And I know I love biscuits. I love biscuits and gravy. So, it's something that has been real important to me to master. So anyway, just keep watching and we'll tackle this together. So, guys, welcome back to Janine's Creative Cooking. So right here, I've got all my ingredients out ready to make my biscuits this morning. So I've got some baking powder, baking soda. I like using butter extract as well as real butter. Um, Sugar, some dry milk or powdered milk. Self-rising flour is the best. Half and half. And then I also have some heavy whipping cream. And I've got my food processor out. I've got my sea salt. So all these things are going into my biscuits. Welcome back to Janine's Creative Cooking. So I'm going to go through um, making the biscuits with you guys. So I'm actually doubling the recipe because I found that I think it made, last time I made it made about 12 biscuits. That really wasn't enough for to last in my household. So I'm doubling the recipe. So you guys will need to split this in half and I can post it on my YouTube channel. I put in 5 cups of flour, self-rising flour. I put in a teaspoon of salt. And now I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of baking powder. 2 tablespoons of baking powder. I'm going to put in a half a teaspoon of baking soda. Put in half a teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to put in some sugar. And with my sugar, I'm going to actually put in 2 tablespoons of sugar. So put in 2 tablespoons of sugar. I have my instant non-fat dry milk. I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of the dried powdered milk. So put in 2 tablespoons of the dried powdered milk. And that is all of my dry ingredients. So once I have all my dry ingredients in the bowl, then I like to mix these together. Some people like to sift things together, and if you like to do that, that's great. You use a sifter. Today I just don't have the patience for it. So I'm just going to use my mixer. You can also put this in a food processor if you just want to mix it together real quick. But I'm going to use my hand mixer, or if you have your KitchenAid, you can do that. And I'm just going to kind of give this a couple turns. I'm going to mix all the dry ingredients up really well. Okay, got those mixed up. Now we're going to the next step. I'm going to get my butter, which I have my grated up, chopped up butter. I've put in the freezer to keep it cold. And now I'm going to mix all of these things together. Okay guys, so now I've taken out my butter that was in the freezer, and I'm going to empty it into my dry ingredients. That out and put into the bowl. And I used about anywhere from 2 to 3 sticks of butter because I'm doubling my recipe. So I guess if I'm doubling it, 2 sticks honestly is enough. But I'll be able to tell based on the texture. So I've emptied my butter in with my dry ingredients. I'm going to take my hand mixer. This will work well in a food processor. KitchenAid works great with the dough hook on it. But I'm going to go ahead and mix these things together on a low speed. So I kind of got this mixed together a little, but I realized that honestly the best mixer for making the biscuits is going to be to use your hands or your fingers. So I'm going to put my hands in here, and I want to make this a crumbly mixture. Use my fingers and just take and smush the butter and the smush together the butter and the flour. You want to make it crumbly. So guys, I thank you for. So guys, now I am mixing together my butter with my flour. So I've emptied it into my flour mixture, and I'm mixing it with my hands. It's probably one of the least messy ways to mix this and make this a crumbly mixture. Mixing it all together. I want it to get the butter worked through, but not overwork it. I want it to look like little crumbs. So I'm working this all through with my hands. Like I said, this is probably one of the easier ways, more successful ways to get to what you want to get to. Okay. So I'm just going to keep working with this for a few minutes. but you don't want to overwork it. You want to keep your butter and things fairly cold. You overwork it too much, you warm your butter up too much. So once you've got your crumbly mixture, looks like crumbs, I'm going to rinse my hands off, and then I'm going to go to the next step. So here's the next step. We're going to put in our half and half, a butter extract, some whipping cream. You can also use milk if that would work. So I've got about a cup here I'm going to start with. I know I'm going to need a lot more than a cup. But I'm going to start with a cup, and I'll just start moistening my crumb mixture. I want to make it into a soft dough and not have it be overly sticky. So I'm going to I mixed my half and half of my heavy whipping cream. So I'm going to put some more heavy whipping cream, and I'll mix just a little bit of regular milk into the dough. If you have buttermilk, you can make buttermilk biscuits. I know some people really love that. You can also add about a tablespoon of lemon juice or vinegar, apple cider vinegar, to a cup of your milk if you want to make your own buttermilk. But I'm not worried about making the buttermilk biscuits right now. I'm just making some regular biscuits here for you guys. So I've mixed in my milk, and I'm feeling my dough. It's getting to the consistency that I want. I've mixed in 2 cups. And I don't want it to be too dry. And I can kind of feel and gauge that with my hand. Remember, I have doubled the recipe. And it's really sticky here. You're going to need some extra flour on the side, so as you're kneading and handling the dough, you're going to be able to more easily remove the dough from your hands. So I'll show you the next part where I'm kneading the dough. Okay guys, I have emptied my dough out, and it's a mess when it first comes out of the bowl, honestly. You've got to really work with kneading it together with your hands, and that may take a few minutes. I have spread a little bit of flour out onto my surface. So I've kneaded it up and combined the ingredients. And I realized one step I didn't show you. I did add about a teaspoon of the butter extract. You can add that when you add the milk. So I'm going to pat this out with my hands first. I'm going to take my rolling pin. You want to have a little flour on your hands. Keep it from being so sticky. So I got my rolling pin. I'm going to roll this out to make it a bigger form, so I can start cutting my biscuits out. So I want to roll it. I don't want to make it too flat, but I do want to roll it out. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's about somewhere between an inch and a half inch thick. Okay, once I have that rolled out, and I'll show you guys. Then I'm going to take my biscuit cutter, and I couldn't find my real biscuit cutter. So one thing I want to encourage you guys, you can always use, here's old school, when you don't have a biscuit cutter. Take kind of small, in between medium and small size glass or cup, and you want to have some extra flour. Rub it in the, run it through, make sure it's dry. Run it through the flour that's on your counter. See, it says a little flour coating, and then you can cut out biscuits using that cup, and it gives you a nice round shape. So you can start cutting out. If you want them to be smaller, I found something else. I don't know. This goes with another piece of equipment I have. This will make a nice small size biscuit. And you can take and make some little mini biscuits if you want. Or you can get creative and get fun. And I have some cookie cutters. And you can make different shapes out of your biscuits for fun for the kids. Got a heart-shaped biscuit. So I'm going to be cutting out my biscuits here and putting them in my pan. And then make sure you have preheated your oven to 400 degrees. I would let it get hot for about, and let it be really, really hot. You want it to be really hot. So maybe about 15 minutes even. So mine has been going for a bit here. But I'm going to go ahead and cut out my biscuits and then get them ready to go into the oven. So I am still cutting biscuits here. I brought out my dough. I'm cutting the biscuits. I've cut some fun shapes, some heart shapes, heart-shaped cookie cutter. I went old school since I couldn't find my actual biscuit cutter, and used a glass that I ran through some flour. I also had another small shape that I used to cut some little baby size biscuits, little mini biscuits. So I'm going to get the rest of these biscuits cut out. Then I'm going to put them in my oven, which I have preheated to 400 degrees. I've been letting it heat for, need to let that heat for at least 15 minutes. You want it to be really, really hot. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll show you the rest. I'm going to put them in the oven, and we'll cook them somewhere between 12 to 15 minutes. And you got to keep an eye on them because you don't want them to overcook. Alright, I'll show you the next step. So now I'm ready to put these in the oven. And I'm going to bake them for about 15 to 18 minutes. So here you have it, guys. I just pulled my biscuits out of the oven. They look so good. It was this one, and then I had the smaller pan with the little heart-shaped biscuits. So anyway, there you go. That's how you make biscuits. Have a great day. So here you have it, guys. Light, fluffy biscuits. Thanks for joining me.